So as we look to the future of this channel, what I would like to start doing is having discussions on Marvel films as those films come out. So the new Captain America, the Winter Soldier, the new Amazing Spider-Man 2, Ant-Man when that film comes out, I think maybe next year. What I'd like to do is have discussions about those. I'd like to talk about the characters, talk about how I viewed the characters, and kind of how they related to their comic book versions or comic book counterparts. Some of the things that I thought were great about them, some of the things that I thought were negative about them. And so what I like to do is kind of do a dry run, maybe a test of some sort, and that's what we're going to do in this video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Avengers.
I just want to get loose when the beat drops.
So before we get too far into this video, I do want to say that I thought the Avengers was an enjoyable film. So this is not going to be a kind of knock around, smash down kind of video on the Avengers. It was an enjoyable movie, and I walked out of the theater thinking that was a fun movie to see, and I would definitely buy it on Blu-ray. I thought it was a great movie. But there are a few things that I would have done, and this mentality is not something that's isolated to the Avengers. Usually whenever I see a film, there's always a few critiques that I have, some things that I would have done different, and I think that's kind of natural for most everybody who goes to see a movie. With the Avengers, in truth, I kind of felt like they rushed it. I kind of felt like that movie probably should not have come out yet. I think that the Avengers, the first Avengers film, should probably be the new Avengers film that's coming out with Ultron being the main villain. And here's the reason why. I felt like a little more character development could have been done around the individual characters themselves. There were a lot of unanswered questions that were going on. For example, what was Bruce Banner doing between the time at the end of the Incredible Hulk film when he's in a hut in a jungle somewhere trying to control his power, and when we pick up with him in Manila? What was Thor doing when he was in Asgard? What was going on with all these different things? Because all the movies that have come out after the Avengers were movies that have taken place chronologically after the Avengers. And so for me, there were some unanswered questions here, questions that I would like to have seen explained on the big screen. In addition, the movie kind of felt like it should have been titled Iron Man and the Avengers. When you go back and you watch the film, it really seems like Iron Man gets more screen time than anybody else in the film. And to me, it's a little annoying. Iron Man is a hilarious character, and he's portrayed fantastically by Robert Downey Jr. It's really one of those roles where you couldn't see anybody else except for Robert Downey Jr. playing the character. But the Avengers is an amalgamation of superheroes fighting together against a single foe. It's not a superhero team being led by one individual, and that guy uses everybody else's power to achieve a goal or something like that. And even if that was the case, the center of the show, the star of the movie, really should have been Captain America. But when you look at films that have no real center point, no one character they can focus on, things really kind of tend to go awry. For example, Star Wars Episode 1 is really kind of the go-to source for people who make a case about how you have to have a main star in a film, because that film really had no main star, and it was an atrocity because of it. But the difference here between the Avengers and something like Star Wars Episode 1 is that in Star Wars Episode 1, the entire clan of Jedi was not the center point of the movie. It wasn't a whole group of Jedi fighting a single force. It was supposed to be a story revolving around Anakin's descent from being a great person into the realm of the dark side and becoming the focal villain for episodes 4, 5, and 6. With the Avengers, what you had was a team of superheroes who came together due to external circumstances and ultimately ended up kind of binding together to form a cohesive team that could fight off a force that no one else could really stand against. And I didn't really feel like that's what happened in this film. I kind of felt like it was people who came together by happenstance, and then they said, oh god, there's a villain, we gotta fight him. And with the original Avengers ensemble, with the way the original team was put together, it was put together by the fact that there needed to be some kind of team to fight against an external force that was undefeatable by virtually every other superhero team group at the time. And when I say at the time, I mean you had some very weak versions of popular superhero team groups currently. Like the X-Men were very, very weak compared to the Avengers. The Fantastic Four were very, very weak compared to the Avengers. In addition to that, I really felt like Ant-Man, Hank Pym, should have been part of the Avengers ensemble. And I don't say this for the sake of posterity. I don't say this because I'm a fan of Ant-Man or because I'm kind of adhering to a past ensemble of the team. I say this simply because Hank Pym is a very important character in the realm of Marvel Comics due to his virtually unchallenged intellect and the fact that he is the creator of Ultron, a machine that eventually rebelled and really kind of took on the role of self-improvement and challenging the Avengers at virtually every turn. I think that Ultron would have made a great villain for the first Avengers film, because at this point there's really one person that we can look at and say, that guy's the bad guy. In the Avengers film, we didn't know if the bad guy was Bruce Banner's alter ego, the Incredible Hulk. We didn't know if the bad guy was the Chitaurian army. We didn't know if the bad guy was Loki. And at the end of the day, when we finally see the post-credit scene, we realize that the ultimate bad guy is Thanos, but it takes getting through 2.5 hours of a film and the credits to finally see who the real bad guy is here. And in truth, I think that you really could have had a lot of interesting dynamics in the Avengers film if you had had Hank Pym in the film and he had been the creator of Ultron, because now you can kind of dive into the realm of Hank Pym's consciousness and his guilt over the creation of one of the most powerful villains in Marvel Comics, and you could have easily kind of delved into the question, had he known that the result of his experimentations would have been Ultron, would he have done it again? And he probably would have said, no, I wouldn't have done it all over again. You could kind of delve into the realm of his guilt with regards to being part of a team and having to destroy his own creation. Different things like that. They really could have made for some great stories, some really great dialogue, and some great intertwining between the characters and their ability to become more of a cohesive unit than they were before. With that being said, again, the film was not terrible. It was not bad. If I were to make an Avengers film, in all honesty, it would have been a little slower. It would have been a build-up, and there would have been two films. The first film would have been kind of an ensemble of the characters coming together, the backstories of what they were doing with regards to the time that we saw them at the end of their respective movies, and the time that we picked up with them in the Avengers film. It would have been a movie more on par with No Country for Old Men. And I know that might raise a few eyebrows, and so people might be saying, what? But if you go back and you watch the film No Country for Old Men, it's all character development. That's all it is. I mean, Antoine Chigurh, Josh Brolin's character, his name escapes me, and Woody Harrelson's character. These were all character developments. Woody Harrelson had a probably total of 30 minutes of screen time, and yet by the time that he died, you realize that he was a pretty cool guy. He was pretty reasonable in his own right in terms of being a bounty hunter. And so if you were to take this concept of taking a first film and making it a No Country for Old Men kind of film, making it more drama, making it more focused on the characters, and then have the second film be more action-packed the way the Avengers film was, to me, I think that'd be a pretty successful recipe for a fantastic film, or a fantastic couple films. But again, that's just me and my preference on the kind of movies that I like to see. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this video to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.